Hello, my name is Acidical Portal and welcome to my next YouTube video. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to create a model and then insert it as a model into Roblox. Today I'm going to be creating a crate. So like you've seen like a crate before, those kind of objects and stuff that you've probably seen in games and whatnot, because this is a building tutorial. So I'm going to, for simplistic sakes, I'm going to be changing this to 0.5. So, and you can see in the Explorer's Property tab the dimensions of the parts, and you can edit the different XYZ. So X would be this way. So if we edited X, it would, if I made this 8, it would make it twice as long. So it'd be like that. Y would be up. So those values go up, and then Z is this way. So, but essentially what we want to do is, what you can do is I could make this a part or go intersect inside of here, but that would cause Z clipping, and Z clipping is when, so if I were to make this red and that were white, this can actually cause the game to bug out because the game doesn't know what should be on top, so they both try to be on top, and it's good to make sure that if you have different colors, they're either unioned and negated, or they are the same color and not intersecting like that. Actually, I'm gonna make this a brown color because crates are brown, so I'm gonna make this wooden. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to make this go up like that. So I'm going to have it 3 because the thickness of this is 0.5. So, and then this would be 0.5. So this would end up being 4. So I'm going to put this right here. And I'm going to do this on the same side. So now we almost have like this cube shape right here. But if we want it to actually look like a crate, we got to put stuff inside of it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna change my stud count a little bit smaller now. I'm gonna make it 0.1, just for more preciseness. You can have your stud count be anything, but for the sakes of this, I'm gonna have it at 0.1. So this is, here we go. So, and we can use, I have a camera light plugin installed. I got a video on that if you want to check it out. But anyways, we got this kind of color. What I also could do, because that was almost like a yellow color, is I could make it like this. So for the inside of the model, I was thinking, so if we put this, if we center this, right, what we could actually do is I could actually make it go on the opposite side. So, and there's another example of Z clipping. So I'm actually going to make the dimensions of this slightly thicker so it doesn't do that. So I didn't move it up on the y-axis, so it was 0.3, and the other ones were 3.7, 3.7. So that was an error I made. So I'm gonna rotate this 90 degrees, and as you can see, it actually kind of almost gets out of place a little bit. So you could actually just grab this and do that, and it'll be perfectly fine. What I also could do is I could make the stud count even smaller because it's slightly off its axis. So I'm gonna just do that. Rotate 5 degrees, and I have it 0.05. So yep, that did the trick. So essentially, at this point, if I rotate it another, so we're at a degree of 90 degrees. So if I were to make this another 45 degrees, so that would be 135. So it would look like this, right? So if I did that to all of these, So if I were to make this orientation and then 0.45, because this one was 0 degrees, if I make this 4, 5, and then this is already so. And then what I could also do is so this is, we want to make these longer right here. So I could make it 4, and because there's only 3 of that, so I could make it, no, we don't want to do that. Well, it's still showing a little bit in the corner right there, so what we could do is we could make that even longer. So I can make it like, I don't know, 4.5. And I could then make it shrink a little bit so it's not bulging out and clipping with the edges like that. So I'm gonna do 3.9. There we go. So that looks pretty cool now. And then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to show you how to fix this clipping in a sec. And by the way, these points right here of this 180 right here, these all represent these bigger degrees right here, a 90-degree difference, because you think of right angles, it's a quarter of a circle, so you can use those as markers. So now we got this right here. So as you can see, there's a little bit of Z fighting right here going on when I move the camera. So what I could do with this, and this is a technique, you can pretty much use any, there's many techniques you could use for this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to union, and I'm going to do that. So now it takes away the union, and it kind of, pun intended, meshes everything together. So this is all a union operation, because it's union can either make holes in parts, carve parts, that kind of stuff, but it can also clump them together. So if you want to negate, that would be using this to do something to another part, to cut holes into that, and that's really trippy looking. But that's not what we want to do. That was just an example. So we could turn that off, and separate just means it goes back to what it was before. And yeah, that's about it for that. So there's a few more things we could do with this. We can make it like, no, we don't want to make that wood planks, actually. I wanted to make the inside model. So whatever, we're just going to group all this together. Remember that this is anchored. So I'm going to name this crate, and I'm going to name all of this crate parts. Because it's good to name your models. And I'm going to name this crate union, just so I know. And even though it has that little icon, it's still good practice to name special objects inside of your model, such as a crate union. So there's one more thing I want to show you guys before we export this model. As you can see, compared to all the other models in the workspace, like, well, this is actually just a part. It has a child, which is fire, but besides that, it's just a part itself. But if we go back to this example, as you can see with this, it moves on a left-right, straightforward, up-down position. But this almost is like pointed, or it's kind of at an angle, right? And so whenever I try to move it, the crate actually becomes this degree angle. So you may be wondering, how do I change that? So I'm going to show you. It's actually quite simple. So if we go to Edit Pivot, the pivot is actually used for objects or the model. It's really good for rotation and C-frames and complex code and that kind of stuff. But if you just simply want to use it normally, we can actually just rotate it like that. So if I go back here, everything will actually be normal. That's pretty cool, right? So another thing that Edit Pivot can do is there's like these little pink dots, and those are kind of the points at where you can have a rotation. So the center of rotation right on this model would be right here on this dot. So everything would be orbiting around this point right here. That's not what we want, but that was just an example of what it can do. So what we want to do now, since we've created, oh yeah, and I was gonna change the texture of this. I'm gonna make this wood plank so it just looks more like a crate. So now that we've created a crate, what we want to do now is we want to go and right click, and we want to do save to Roblox. So what this does is it'll bring this up. So you'll see this warning sign right here. It says any private audio in your model will not be playable. So that's just saying, like, if you have a sound in your parts and it's not public, if people can't access it, it will not play in the model, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to name this crate model. I'm going to do created by, actually I'm going to do created by Aesthetical Portal. That's Connor Cooley's is just my Roblox username. All right, created by Aesthetical Portal. Creator name, I can change that. WS game is a group that I'm in. We don't have to worry about that. We can change the. I guess we could. It doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to do all. This is an image of the thing. So what we want to do now is we want to press submit. So what that should do is now we've. It says you may find your asset in Toolbox or the web. So that's the link to it right there. It says this item is currently not for sale. So what we want to do. So what this essentially does is distributes on Marketplace. That means you can publish your model to the thing. So I'm going to press submit, and it says successfully submitted. It says you may find your asset on the Toolbox or web. So since we've fixed that issue now, it says no description available, but that's kind of a minor issue. So that's about it for my tutorial. If you guys like the video, please subscribe and like. If you dislike it, dislike it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.